WICR.
All right, guys, welcome back to the three-man weave. We're gonna get right back into it. We're gonna talk about Melo. I just like to say Melo. Right now he's hurt. He's gonna take for the rest of the season off. For the he's gonna take. Excuse me. He's gonna take the rest of the season off. And I was just gonna say that you saw that he participated in the All-Star game, about 2 weeks ago, a week or so ago, and he played 30 minutes. And he got about 14 points in or whatever. And apparently it was a bad shooting display. And just like Sean was saying before the break, I would just like to say, was it wise for him to play in this All-Star game? Knowing that, one, we understand that, the All-Star game was in New York. He's from New York, and it's probably a big thing for him for it to be in New York. And especially for everybody that's in New York, period, That's a really big scene, especially getting the new stadium, Barclays coming in, and really just having that experience in the city life, And what do you think about Melo playing, even though he has a really bad record in the East, and he's playing in the All-Star game, even though he was chosen by the fans, to get there for the starting lineup? Sometimes you could say no. I think mentally as a player, you have to be like, okay, I'm gonna think about for the betterment of the team or for myself. Do you think that he had with this All-Star game, probably not compared to like a lot of other ones, you always think about somebody who represented. Do you think that Melo stayed just to represent his state, represent New York, just not for the team exactly, but for himself because he used to live here? Or just because he wanted to say this is his last hurrah before I end the season, before I don't play for the rest of the season, his last game?
Well, like you said, the All-Star game was in New York, so you have to come out there and represent for New York. Even if he came out in crutches, I wouldn't care. He had to come out there, represent, because both New York teams are sucking. He had to come out there and say, "New York, we here."
So when you think about an All-Star team, you don't think about their record or anything like
No,
that.
I do think about record, but Melo's putting up good numbers. I look at numbers first. And then, like, if it's a tie or something, I'll put the team with the better record, the player with the better record over the player with the worst record. But I think numbers first.
Okay. Sean, what do you think? Do you think it's feelings over the fact of the matter that the Knicks are doing bad? Like, what do you think is the main priority? What do you think was going in Melo's head when he was thinking about, just like playing and thinking about this is probably his last game for the season?
He was, when it comes to what was, going on throughout his mind, he's probably thinking, all right, I need to draw one positive thing from this abysmal season I've been having here, in New York. I need to, walk away with something. The All-Star game is coming to my house, my city. I need to be out there and at least represent, regardless of how I may contribute. At least I have to be a part of it. I have to be a part of the grand event in some way, shape, or form. And I understand that logic. Me personally, I couldn't walk out there with with my team being 10 and 40 plus, in terms of the win-loss column. But Melo, when it comes to that, I get it. He's box office. The All-Star event is a box office event. It's in the New York market, your town. You've been having a horrible season collectively with your team. You still should be obliged somewhat to make make an appearance during this All-Star game. But to do that and then shut it down after the season looks bad when you play 30 minutes of that All-Star game.
Yeah.
With quote-unquote bad knee, reportedly might have been a torn meniscus or, torn cartilage or whatever, and let's face it, the Knicks organization has been wanting him to shut it down for weeks, and he said no because, obviously for prideful reasons.
Yeah.
But then you go play 30 minutes of the game, being a part of everything outside of the game in terms of the interviews, being all over the place, it doesn't look good when you tank. In that case, if you're gonna play that much minutes in the All-Star game, tough it out and play the rest of the season. If not for the if not for your teammates and for the fans and the season ticket holders who can't get that money back. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I would just like to think that Melo, I hope for him that the rest of the season that he is productive and getting healthy for the rest of the for his team for next year. I hope that Knicks fans, even though that this year is probably really tough on them, that they really do stay positive and hopefully they get a good pick. Coming out of the draft coming up soon. I'd really hope that they would get some people, get some good pieces in. I know that if you think about the Knicks right now, everybody's playing for like their career. You know, everybody's playing good and trying to look good to get shipped off somewhere else. Because it doesn't seem like anybody that's going to be on the team might be the team. Phil Jackson, you think about Phil Jackson also, he really looks like, when you think about it, everybody who left, you think of J.R. Smith and Iman Shumpert going to Cleveland. You think about how everybody's clearing. You just had a piece. You just had J.R. Smith. He was one of those players, and Iman Shumpert for the pieces that you would want to try to continue on to get some wins at least. But now you see Phil Jackson, who I mentioned, didn't seem like you really forgot Phil Jackson was there because, you know, the losing streak and the terrible display that the Knicks have been shown like all of season. I would just like to think that you see Phil Jackson really clearing out. You see those two left, and you have Amari gone, and you just have all the household names there that used to be there gone. Even Melo, since he's not gonna be a factor for the rest of the season. It's gonna be really sad if the Knicks can't bounce back, and it would really be a waste to have Phil Jackson there, and probably Melo stay, because I think Melo, one reason he probably stayed was for Phil Jackson to be there and probably get a little bit of coaching and a little bit of inside scoop on what he can do in the NBA, and him, you know, being the coach of Kobe Bryant, you know, if he's gonna be the next great, even though he's in an old age, you would want to take some inside, you know, things from Phil Jackson. But from Melo, it's like, okay, now I'm on a team that doesn't have any pieces to excel like Kobe did. He had in back in the day. Like Kobe had Shaq, you know, he had a bunch of other pieces, other people there, and then there was Derek Fisher. But then right now for Melo, with Phil Jackson being the head of the organization, there's nobody there to really help him get to where he needs to be. Because Melo's in his 30s. You got to think of it this way. He wants to get a chip now. I think you think of Melo, you think of LeBron, you think of all the moves how LeBron's getting. Everybody's, you know, trying to go to LeBron. Sean was just telling me that Kendrick Perkins, another person that was from OKC, went to traded from Utah, but then he got bought out by the Cavs. So now he's back with LeBron. Now he's with LeBron. You think of just people, you know, going to LeBron, and LeBron being at the close to the same age as Melo, and LeBron having an even greater chance of having a playoff chance than Melo. And it's really sad for the Knicks right now for where they'll be. Just to cut off on basketball, we are also multi-talented because we're going to talk about some rap. Just a quick thing on rap. Rob was told me and Sean to really listen to Lupe Fiasco's new album. What's the album name called?
Tattoo on Youth.
Tattoo on Youth. I wouldn't even remember that in like 10 minutes. I'll tell you that. So yeah, Rob. So since you're a heavy Lupe Fiasco listener to, I believe you listen to him a lot.
Nah, I just started getting to him recently, but like I really love this album.
All right. So what do you like about it?
First thing first, bars. This man just drops lyrics on you. Every verse is just lyrics after lyrics after lyrics. I liked his flow on all the tracks. The production value on the tracks was great. He had probably like one bad beat out of the whole album, if you give him that. All the features were great. Like each feature fit the type of song it was. If it was a trap song, he put trap rappers on the song. If it was a lyrical song, he put guys like Ab-Soul on the track. And that's pretty much how I feel about the album.
All right, Sean, what about you? I know you had some thoughts on it.
I feel like it is a complete musical product. Like it's a complete project. And you know, you look at it, everything down to a science. Even outside of the music, even the cover, the artwork that he painted himself by hand. You know, a lot of people may not know that about him unless you do some research on the guy, but he's artistic in various ways. He likes to paint a lot, and even when correlating the title to the sound you get from the project, you have the transitional little tracks, the interludes between songs, like autumn or spring,
All seasons.
summer, yeah, all the seasons, and it kind of correlates with in terms of the life cycle. You have the
Yeah.
youthful sound at the beginning, and then it kind of gets into the colder seasons, and that it's kind of how life transpires. You know what I mean, and how
Yeah.
that goes. So I feel like that kind of assembled the whole thing, and like you were saying, a little while ago, dating back to how Lupe just dropped a bunch of bars on you, just threw a whole bunch of bars your way, and he told an interviewer that with this project he felt artistically free,
Yeah.
and by that he meant that there was no restrictions. He didn't feel like he had to appeal to the masses. If he didn't want to make that song to appease everyone else, and the song that he knows is gonna get radio play, if he didn't want to make that, he didn't make it. And he felt like he just wanted to do it his way, whether it be dropping a bunch of bars on you, regardless if no one else understood the meaning behind the bars, with the exception of him. That's what he was gonna do, and you just look at everything down to the production. A lot of guys people may not even know initially in terms of the names of the producers, and the features just complemented every single song, whether it be Nicki Jean, Ab Soul, Trey the Truth, and although you can have one little caveat, about the whole album. It was good. It was definitely a great project, but could be a little overwhelming in terms of the
Time.
meanings. Not even just time. I mean, sure, the first song was 8 minutes long.
Yeah.
Go ahead, continue. My fault.
Like the meaning within the message within the message.
Yeah.
It's a lot to take in. I know the first time I heard it, my head hurt for a while.
Yeah. It's like you have to go back and listen to the songs 2, 3, maybe 4 plus times to even understand one of the songs, and that's one song. You
Yeah.
need to go back through the album again
Yeah.
and again to actually understand the album as a whole. It's
I think with that, it's getting a little complex with the message. I mean, I know for me, when I think of Lupe Fiasco, I think Kick Push. Like, that was just like, it was very simple. I was listening to it. You could visualize what's going on. You could think of the maturity, things that have changed, blah, blah,
Made
blah.
me want to go pick up a skateboard.
Yeah, like for real. Like, it was a really cool, catchy song. And I know that a lot of rappers now are getting more lyrical and things like that. But I think for when I listened to some of it, Lupe Fiasco. I was driving home back from New Jersey, and I was just listening to each song, and sometimes I kept catching myself. I was like, okay, I'm trying to drive. Sometimes you just want to listen to a song that you could really just like try to sink in, because I'm trying to do it for the radio show. So I'm driving and I'm listening to it, and I'm just thinking to myself, okay, is this the same song? I found myself really trying to look at my phone to check how long the song was, because I was playing it through my phone through like Spotify, and I was like, okay, 8 minute song, okay. All right, I'll keep listening. Okay, and I kept thinking, okay, should I rewind it? But it's Spotify. I don't have the Prime version. So I'm like, okay, I can't rewind it. So I missed that message, because just how you guys are saying that, it's more lyrical and things like that, and you have to listen to an album over and over and over. For this kind of album, I wasn't able to do so. I found myself really trying to grasp what he was saying. I see that in some of his raps, he goes with a lot of speed. So I find myself trying to catch what he's trying to do. But it's not a kind of album, I think, that I could just be doing something else and listen to. I think I have to be in a zone to like really listen to the song and like really ponder about it and like take into what the message is. Like, I can't drive and do it.
Yeah.
Because I listened to one of the songs I liked was Autumn, because I like the beat. I was like going with the beat. I was like, okay. I was telling Sean this earlier before. I was just like, all right, I like the beat. It's going off or whatever. And then I found myself stop bobbing my head, and then I'm listening to the words, and then I'm getting lost in the words because I'm doing something else. You know, I think this is one of those albums that you have to sit back and relax. Now, compare that to the other rap album that just came out, you know, out of nowhere, was Drake's. That kind of album is something that I could really like listen to while I'm doing something.
Yeah.
Because the message is, I wouldn't say there entirely is a message overall. I know that he's talking about you know, talking about Canada or whatever, saying to the six. I have a real iffy thing about rap, period, but I could get into that like next week about just rap in general, about especially what Drake's talking about. I'll definitely mention in the next segment when we talk. But I just like to say, for at least for Drake's though, I found myself that I could do stuff and really just bow my head and not entirely listen to the message. But there's some things about what they rap about that you really have to pay attention to.
Yeah.
And I'll just go like religiously, like you just have to really zone in and really see what these rappers are really saying, because it's those things when rap really goes fast, you miss certain things that might be taking your mind away from the message that they're really trying to say, regardless if it is positive. But sometimes it's a little negative things that are hidden in there you probably don't know, you know, because the beat's just going real fast and real smooth and whatnot. But just to cut off short, Lupe Fiasco's, it seemed like a nice album with some nice genuine beats. It seemed like it had a little bit of originality to it. I just listened to everything. I think that you can't do something with the album. You have to like sit back and relax and really just think of the words of what he's saying and the message, because you mentioned that he has like a season type of message in it. You know, just the autumn, summer, spring. You know, kind of things. And yeah. And for Drake's, I would just like say the other album that was hot recently that everybody's listening to is something that you can listen to whatever. You could just say the chorus, and that'll be fun, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I'd say about rap. Any last words on rap? Anybody?
I'd say the Drake album was, like you said, it was a fun album. It was. It's not an album you can listen to that while doing anything. And nothing about Drake I like is he switches his flow up like on a whim. Like he might stick with a flow for 2-3 years, then switch it, then go stick for a flow for a month because he's not feeling that flow, switch it, then go stick for another one for 11 months. Like Drake.
You mean go from rapping to singing to rapping?
It's not even just the way his whole flow and aura, the way he just like raps and sings, it switches. It's not the same every time. It's not the same Drake from last year. It's not the same Drake from the year before that. He's always switching. He's always giving you a new sound. That's what I like about Drake.
Okay. Sean, you got anything to recap on Drake before we head out?
Well, in terms of Drake's album, shout out to the West Indians out there. You know, he got my guy, dancehall artist Popcorn doing the voiceovers. Popcorn, yeah. So I mean, shout out, you know, to that. You know, Jamaica, you know. But apart from that, I still have to listen to that project though. I've only heard one song, and then again, I didn't really listen keenly to the words. So I'm definitely gonna have to do that just for the sake of, you know, analyzing it. But one last thing I would like to leave the audience with is SoundCloud.com/Prophet Music. Yes, yours truly is an MC. Rap name Prophet. Ask about me.
Yeah, go listen to him. He has some good messages. He doesn't curse. He's about God, so let's keep that in mind when he's rapping. But yeah, look him up, The Prophet.
Yeah, Prophet
Shout
Music
Prophet.
with a K. It's PROPHETMUSIK. Not the one with the underscore. Prophet
Yeah,
Music.
that one tripped me up last time.
Yeah, I
I'm
know
over
you,
here-
you looked at the link, right?
Yeah, I clicked on the underscore one. I'm like, it's not Sean.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, I wish you the very best, Sean. Sean will definitely be on WICR soon, very soon.
Yeah.
With somebody else's show, because he did that for another radio show I saw on YouTube. So I really appreciate that. Shout outs to him. But after this, thanks for listening to the rap. This is the 3-Man Weave, the multi-talented group. I'm Brendan Clark.
I'm Robert Dwasselis.
And I'm Sean Edwards.
All right, and we'll see you soon next week, Tuesday at 3 o'clock.
Boop.